Police found a 64-year-old former accountant dead in a room on the 32nd floor of a hotel after he sprayed bullets on concertgoers below, injuring hundreds. He apparently turned one of his many guns on himself as police closed in. In a press conference on Wednesday, Clark County Sheriff Lombardo was asked if he saw evidence that Paddock had planned to escape after the attack. The sheriff said yes. They find one suspect down. The gunman had around 23 weapons with him in the room, many of which were modified to make them shoot more quickly. The gunman behind Sunday night's mass shooting in Las Vegas planned to flee, and he may have had help with planning the massacre. Officials suspect. Stephen Paddock was living a secret life, much of which would never be fully understood, Sheriff Joe Lombardo told reporters. The gunman's girlfriend what he was plotting. Paddock's motive for killing 58 people in the largest mass shooting in modern U.S. history remains unclear. Police found explosives in his car at the hotel, along with about 1,600 rounds of ammunition. In the aftermath of the shooting, officials described him as a lone wolf, and said he was solely responsible for this heinous act. The FBI's Aaron Rouse said no link to terrorism had been found so far, but they would not discard the possibility. Sheriff Lombardo also revealed, the sheriff said more than 100 investigators had been combing through the Paddock's life to produce a profile of someone I would call disturbed and dangerous. Paddock, he said, was a man who spent decades acquiring guns and ammo. 22:05 First shots fired by Paddock. Officers reached 31st floor and report gunfire coming from floor above. Last shots fired into the concert crowd. Security guard on 32nd floor tells police he has been shot and points them to room. SWAT teams enter gunman's room. Asked what it was, he said, "I can't tell you." Sheriff Lombardo was asked by a reporter if he thought Paddock had carried out the attack alone. "You've got to make the assumption he had to have some help at some point," the sheriff replied. "Maybe he's a super guy, maybe he was working out all this on his own, but it would be hard for me to believe that. The possibility that Paddock could have had an accomplice is a twist in the investigation." The bulk of Paddock's weaponry was bought in the last year, but Sheriff Lombardo said it was not clear what motivated him to start buying so much equipment. "Anything that would indicate this individual's trigger point, and that would cause him to do such harm, we haven't understood it yet," he said. Paddock had set up cameras both inside and outside the suite to see anyone approaching the room, police said. Mary Lou Danley, who was out of the country at the time of the shooting, has been described by U.S. authorities as a person of interest. She voluntarily flew back to Los Angeles from the Philippines on Tuesday night to speak to the FBI.